Universal is about to get a lot bigger as they are seeking to overtake Disney across the world. Hello everybody, welcome. Epic Universe hasn't even opened yet and we already have confirmation on new expansions and dozens of new Universal parks coming to a city near you. In the words of Karen Irwin, the president and COO of Universal Orlando Resort, even though Epic Universe feels like a finale, it really isn't. It's just the beginning. They are not only looking to elevate the Universal theme park brands, they also have their eyes on being #1 in theme parks across the globe. If you watched my previous video about the New York Times article with Mark Woodbury, who is the chairman and CEO of all Universal Parks and Resorts, you know that Universal is aggressively expanding their theme park properties, adding new parks, new lands, new attractions, and have tons of things planned in the coming years. That article also reveals something very interesting. Universal is not just expanding, this is more than just expanding their parks, more than just trying to get a little bit more of that theme park market share, and more than just adding a new theme park in Orlando to compete with Walt Disney World. Mark Woodbury reveals that they are going after Disney in a big, big way. In fact, Mark goes on record by saying, "We want people to think of us first." This isn't just if you're planning a trip in one of our theme park areas, we want you to come spend some time with us. This is more than that. This is saying, if you're thinking about a theme park trip anywhere in the world where we reside, we want our brand, Universal's properties, to be your first choice. Not your second choice after Disney, not your add a couple of days of Universal, or maybe a weekend. This is, we want you to think about our brand first. And then, hey, while you're at it, while you're on a trip with us and you're hanging out at Universal Resorts, yeah, you can think about the other guys too and maybe plan a day or two over there, or maybe just take a real quick day trip. But we want you to think about us first. This is a huge shift. This is a big punch to Disney. This is Universal actively going on record, saying out in public, look, we're not okay being #2. We're not okay being #3, #4. We want to be #1. I've talked about this in some of my other videos. I've talked about how Epic Universe is going to make a big dent in Disney. They're going to make a big dent in all theme parks across the world. This is going to be a big deal, but they need more if they want to challenge Disney. If they want to challenge Magic Kingdom for that top spot with all those visitors, almost double the number of visitors at Magic Kingdom as Universal's most successful theme park. If they want to challenge that, they've got to do a lot more than just Epic Universe. A recent Universal video just landed that confirms that they are already planning for new attractions and new lands in all of their parks. This means Islands of Adventure, Universal Studios, Epic Universe, and it clearly says including Epic Universe, and even Volcano Bay. So let's talk really quickly about some of the things that we believe are planned and the things that we know are coming. And then we're going to get into something really wild that I don't want you to miss. It's going to be something that's going to blow your mind. So really quickly, Epic Universe, what we expect to be coming there. I've talked about this in a few other videos, but I want to make sure I hit it again in this one because we're talking all these expansions. First things first, Wizarding World of Harry Potter, an expansion there. We already know there's space for it. We already built the facade, the building front there for a second planned Wizarding World attraction in Epic Universe. It really needs that to round out that land. So we know that that is going to be hot on their list of priorities to add that second attraction there. Again, don't get me wrong. Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, they need some love. They're going to get some investment. They're going to get some more dollars. But Epic Universe is not done. It still needs more, and it needs more fast if it is going to challenge Magic Kingdom for that #1 spot. So we're definitely going to be getting some sort of attraction there in Wizarding World. The second one I've talked about, which is the Creature from the Black Lagoon, most likely boat attraction, dark ride there in Dark Universe to round out that land. Already the previews are coming out. People are talking about Dark Universe. They're already saying Monsters Unchained is one of the best rides, if not the best attractions that's ever been made. And so far, Dark Universe is people's absolute favorite, and they are going crazy over this land. You throw in a dark ride there, a third attraction in that land, this thing is going to go off the chain. We also talked about Wicked possible expansions, a Wicked expansion in Epic Universe, or possibly in the UK park, or even in Universal Hollywood. Could land in different places. We don't know if it'll be a land or an attraction, but we know something Wicked this way comes, most likely going to get something in the future. Now, I have a whole other video that talks about all the cool things that are coming to Universal and Islands of Adventure, all the things they're planning, everything from Pokemon to Zelda to Lord of the Rings, even possibly coming to one of those areas, or maybe again to the UK park if that goes forward. So we've already talked about that in previous videos, but we now have new information just recently uncovered that Universal could be planning on building up to 50 up to 50 new parks around the world. 50 new parks. You're like, what? Are you crazy? Where are you getting that number at? Okay, let me be more realistic. 50's probably a really long shot. It's probably more like a dozen or so, but they have a ton of new parks most likely in the works, and I'm going to talk about where that information comes from. But in order to understand that, we first have to talk a little bit about the brand new Universal Kids Resort that they are building in Frisco, Texas, right there north of Dallas. This is a really important thing to understand because what they're doing there is becoming a blueprint. Let's talk a little bit about this resort. Universal Kids Resort is expected to open in 2026 already. 2026, that's a year away. Before Disney even has a new land out there, one of their expansions, the things they've been talking about at D23 Expo, Universal's already building a completely new theme park, and it is expected to open less than a year from now, which just on the surface is just insane. This just goes to show you how committed Universal is to the things that they're doing and to try to get to this #1 spot. This is a big deal. Now, why Frisco, Texas? You're like, why Frisco, Texas of anywhere in the world? Well, Frisco, Texas, they've done a lot of information, a lot of polling. There's a lot of families with small children there, and there's a lot of demand for it in that space. In fact, there's a brand new Peppa Pig park that's going to be opening very near there in the Dallas area. And this park is being made by the same people who own Legoland. So Legoland, very successful children's theme parks. Peppa Pig going to be right in line with that. So there is a big demand and a great place for them to test out some concepts in Frisco, Texas, nearby there, and build this sort of Universal park that is specifically geared for families with small young children. This is not a park that's designed for teens or adults. It is families with small children. That doesn't mean that I'm not wanting to go, quite honestly, and experience Bikini Bottom. I want to go see that because I've always said I'd love to see a SpongeBob land. I mean, I was sick when they took a lot of the SpongeBob stuff away from Universal Studios, so I'm kind of excited about maybe taking a trip down there and seeing Bikini Bottom. I think it's going to be cool. But let's just really quickly talk about the size of this resort. How big is this land going to be? If you look at all of the space for Universal Studios, Islands of Adventure, Volcano Bay, City Walk, all their hotels, all their properties in the existing Universal, that's about 700 acres. All of the land for Epic Universe and all the surrounding areas and the hotels and all the space and parking and everything they have over there is another 750 acres. So around the 700 acre mark for each of those two plots each. This Universal Kids Resort is about 97 acres, considerably smaller. And if you look at the theme parks specifically, the Universal Studios theme park and Islands of Adventure combined is about 250 acres. The Universal Kids Resort, just the theme park area, is only around 37 acres, about 32 acres to start with, about 5 acres for expansion plots. So much smaller in scale than what we're talking about for Universal Studios Islands of Adventure. Think about maybe double the size of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge from a size perspective. If you've ever been to Star Wars Galaxy's Edge in Hollywood Studios, that's about 12 to 14 acres. About double that, and you're getting to about the size of what the Universal Kids Resort theme park space will be. The other acres of that 90 some odd acres is for the parking and for the hotel and some reserve space and things like that. So about 30 some odd acres. In addition, they have an on-site hotel with about 300 rooms. Overall, Universal is around 6,000 rooms, I think, or something like that across their hotels. So one hotel, 300 rooms, much smaller in scale. But they are continuing their islands, their sort of like lands, their portal, their hubs. They're continuing this theme for the Universal Kids Resort. There is going to be a main hub with DreamWorks Gabby's Dollhouse being there. That's sort of the main hub, and that's the brand around that. A lot of DreamWorks stuff in this area. We're also going to have a DreamWorks Shrek Land. It's going to be similar to some of the things that you see over there at the DreamWorks Land in Universal Studios here in Orlando. They're also going to have a DreamWorks Puss in Boots area and a DreamWorks Trolls area. So those are 4 big DreamWorks properties, IPs that they're building a lot around. So each one of those will sort of have a land. Then we're also going to get an Illuminations Minions Land, so sort of an expansion like Universal Studios with all the Minions stuff. We're going to get a specific dedicated Minions area. Then there's going to be a Jurassic World area. Again, I think it's going to be more tailored towards younger kids, but it is going to be Jurassic World, which I think is going to be really cool. And then the last one is Nickelodeon's SpongeBob SquarePants, the Bikini Bottom area. That's the one I'm the most excited for. I think it sounds awesome. I've always wanted to see Bikini Bottom. I think it's really neat. My kids loved that show growing up, and I loved that show because it was one of the few shows that I could watch with my kids that I kind of enjoyed watching. So that's a summary of that land just really quickly, but here's the kicker. Here's why I was talking so much about this kids resort and why does this matter. Here's the kicker. Mark Woodbury has come out in this New York Times article, and he says, we are going to roll these out across the country and the world. And specifically what he's talking about when he says these, we're going to roll these things out, he is talking about the Universal Kids Resort and the Universal Horror Unleashed that's coming to Las Vegas, which we'll talk about in just a second. So those types of theme parks and attractions and entertainment venues, Universal is going to be rolling those out across the world. These first couple are just the beginning. So then you ask the question, why? Why are they rolling out these smaller sort of theme parks, these theme parks that are geared towards children, and then this sort of like Universal Horror brand that they're going to be rolling out in different pockets? Why are they bringing these types of theme park and entertainment venues? Why are they bringing those across the world? Let me tell you why this is brilliant. Let's look at the price comparison. For Epic Universe, it's estimated that it costs around $7 billion to build Epic Universe. That is a ton of money. $7 billion, that's huge. As a comparison point, Universal Kids Resort is estimated to cost them only $152 million. So $7 billion, $152 million. That's a lot smaller. $152 million is a lot of money. I'd love to have that much money. But in comparison to $7 billion, it's a drop in the bucket. In fact, if you do the math, you could build 46 of these Universal Kids Resorts for one Epic Universe. 46 to 1. That means that Universal could build almost 50 new theme parks across the world for the same amount of money that they put into Epic Universe. And they've already come out on record and said, we're going to be rolling these out, quote unquote, all over the country and all over the world. So how many are we talking? 5, 10, 15, 50? Don't know, but we're talking a lot. They're going to be rolling these things out. Again, why? Number one, brand building. The more they can roll these out to different parts of the country and different parts of the world, the more they can expose people to their brand. Universal brand and a lot of their IP brands like DreamWorks, Trolls, Minions, all the things that people start to get attached to and associated with. Think about the Horror Unleashed, the brand of the horror genre being attached to Universal for being one of the best horror, best haunted houses, producers in the world. Brand building. Number two, creating things that are specifically designed to hook and get the attention of smaller children and expose them to these brands and these IPs and get them to fall in love with them at a very young age. This is what Disney has been doing for decades. They have been creating these iconic IPs and brands and getting children to fall in love with them. Think about Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, Cinderella, Snow White, all these IPs that they grew up with watching cartoons and watching these brands for hours and hours on end and falling in love with them. And then they think, oh, wait a minute, I can go experience that in person in a theme park. I'm a Disney fan for life. Like, you've got them hooked at a young age. This is exactly what Universal is doing. They're trying to build their brand, build the recognition, and build that association and closeness with children and bringing adults along for the ride. And those children, guess what? Turn into teenagers and they turn into adults who have their own kids and so on and so forth. And it becomes a generational thing. So the more that they can get people excited about that, more longevity and the more love and passion that people are going to have for their brands. As I said, this is an absolutely brilliant strategy. A couple of other things I already mentioned: Universal Horror Unleashed, this year-round haunted attraction, haunted space there in Las Vegas. It's going to have 4 primary IPs related to it at launch. First is going to be Universal Monsters. Again, brand building Universal Monsters, getting people excited. They're going to want to go to Halloween Horror Nights. They're going to want to go to Dark Universe. They're going to want to see more Universal Monsters. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Scarecrow the Reaping, and Blumhouse's Exorcist Believer. That is, again, Blumhouse has become a staple for Halloween Horror Nights. So again, more brand building, more getting people to come to Halloween Horror Nights to see other versions of Blumhouse houses. So again, just a brilliant strategy, and that's for adults and teens that are in love with haunted houses, in love with the horror genre. And again, they're building that association to Universal. The last thing I want to mention is the Universal UK Park. This is about a 476-acre park, pretty big, this space, almost about 3/4 of the size of what Epic Universe and all that surrounding property is going to be. They have about 476 acres that they've purchased and earmarked for that UK park. They are still in a holding pattern, still trying to figure out, are they going to proceed with it? They've done all the due diligence. They've created all the maps. They've done all of the town halls and conversations with locals and all the people that live there and the city and trying to get this deal done. But they're still in the phase of trying to figure out, do we really want to pull the trigger on this? Is this going to be the best for us? They've even recently applied to trademark Universal Studios UK in the United Kingdom. So it is moving forward. We'll see if it ends up happening. But again, this is in a completely other country, bringing another park, just like all the other Universal parks around the world. Again, continuing to expand their brand and their offerings. So all that is to say, tons of stuff coming to Universal. Maybe even up to 50 new parks that they're creating. I mean, it's just blowing my mind. And I'm just going to end by saying this, and Disney has no answer. They have no answer for this. They are literally throwing darts and fumbling, trying to figure out, what are we going to do? Oh, I know, let's revive Disney villains. Oh, I know we're going to kill Rivers of America and put Cars Land. They're literally just reaching for straws. And I'm getting really, really nervous and scared for Disney because Universal just keeps killing it. They're not resting on their laurels. They're not like, Epic Universe, this is the crescendo, this is the finale, we're done. Whew, we can take a breather and we can rest. Not Universal. You know what they're saying? It's time to get amped up. What's next? Let's go. And I couldn't be more excited. The future for Universal is extremely bright, and I am here for it all day long. So let me know what you think. Are you pumped? Are you excited? Do you feel like Universal is just killing it? And moreover, are you hearing all the stuff about the previews of all the team members that are going on at Epic Universe right now? Everybody's minds are being blown. I cannot wait to be there on opening day. Hope you've got your tickets already. Hope to see you there. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share this content. Anybody who's excited about Universal might like to hear from it. Thanks again for watching. Until I see you next time, the noble way is the easy way. Bye-bye, everybody.